Hi, this is Christina. It is video number 8. So this topic will be drugs, drug testing, blah blah blah. So number one, if they ask you for a drug test, they need to have a warrant. They're not going to tell you that. So if they say, "Hey, will you please drug test for me?" You say, "Do you have a warrant?" Period. That's it. They're going to try to talk you into it. You don't have to consent. Even if you're already in a drug program, you don't have to consent. Okay, so, and let's keep in mind different things. You're in a different state, different requirements. Here, it's a piss test. In other states, it's hair. So, if you're in California, you're lucky. You're going to have a little bit more leeway in the event that you do have to test. So, what will they test for? Crack, pot, meth, heroin, opiates, LSD, PCP, everything you can think of. And yes, you could say, oh, well, I could come up positive for taking prescription drugs, blah, blah, blah. Yes, you can, but you can prove that you're taking those drugs, right? So the big mystery is, if you come up positive, does that mean you're screwed? No, but you have to be able to explain who is supervising your kids when this is happening. It can't be you. I know you might feel like you do a better job when you're high, but you can't be supervising your kids when you're high. At least not, do not share that with them, okay? So the other thing to know that is important, that they can tell how much you consume. So if there's a lot in your system, they're going to know it. You can't really get away with that part. If, let's say, you're like, oh, well, I don't care, I'm going to go ahead and drug test because pot is legal, but are you thinking about everything? Because sometimes people are just recreational users and they do a line here and there. So now all of a sudden they forgot that they're doing this. Social worker asks, and you're like, yeah, I'll go ahead. And now you're positive for meth or coke, and you're not even like a regular user. And now you're involved in something and you didn't even have to test in the first place because they didn't have a warrant. So, avoid it. If they don't have a warrant, you don't do it, okay? So the other is, so if you test positive, this doesn't mean they're gonna take away your kids. There has to be a nexus, and we're not talking about skin products here, okay? What I'm talking about is they have to be able to show, one, that you're positive, and that two, that your drug use, whether it is addiction, recreational, whatever the hell you want to call it, contributes to your child's neglect or abuse, right? So if you can use coke, meth, heroin, whatever the hell you want, but your kids are fine, and you can prove that somebody else is supervising them, you could use drugs. There's nothing they can do about it. Okay? So, also remember that these tests that you do and the reports, all that, of, the levels, how much of whatever you use, you're going to put it in a court report. Okay? So, back to the beginning. If you are asked a drug test, what are you going to say? Do you have a warrant? And I'm going to advise you to look in the mirror and rehearse this with confidence. Okay, the social worker is going to be totally pissed and not want to hear that. But when you deal with them, it's either you or them. Okay, and I know a lot of people are not going to appreciate me saying this, but same deal with dealing with the cops, probation. They're not really on your side. It's kind of like either their job or you. Their job is to make sure that you're safe and you're doing your program, or that you're following the rules or whatever. And them not pointing everything out is like they didn't do their job, when it's not even anything maybe to point out, or it's not a big deal, or it's being inflated to something that it isn't, or whatever, right? Or another thing they do is, if you piss them off, yeah, they'll try to point out other stuff because you gave them attitude or whatever. So know your rights, okay? What do you do if you're asked to drug test? You say, do you have a warrant? And if they don't, that's the end of the conversation. You hang up. All right, next video.